So we start. All okay? Right, fine. So we start from where we had left. Before we start, let's have a little bit of recap. I don't know whether you have studied or not, but it's my duty to do the recap. We started with the human eye. That's the parts of the human eye. We started with the cornea. After that, why do you see the notes?
See parts of the eye. We did the iris.
No. We started with cornea. After that, after cornea comes what?
Cornea के बाद we did the pupil. No, we did the iris. Then the
After cornea comes the iris.
yeah.
The iris आने से ही another thing comes into place. The pupil comes into place. What is the difference between the iris and the pupil?
The iris is it's basically what we see, and pupil it's just the
Opening. The opening is known as pupil. The iris controls the amount of light through the opening. So the bigger the pupil, more amount of light enters. Smaller the pupil, less amount of light enters. Yeah. Come, we just started. Don't worry. No, stay right. So iris controls the amount of I will not say iris controls the amount of light. Iris controls the size of the pupil. So when the iris opens up, the pupil opens big. If the pupil opens big, more amount of light is able to enter. Right? Fine. So when you are in a less lit room, you need more light to enter. So at that time, your iris adjusts in such a manner that the pupil is very big. And in the same condition, if I take you to a place where there is a lot of bright light, you do not want that much of light. So immediately your iris starts adjusting and you make your eyes, you squeeze your eyes because you don't want that much light to get in, but the pupil takes some time. Okay, so iris, cornea gone. Iris, cornea is the convex bulging part. Then the iris gone, pupil. After that what comes? फिर वानिया notes देख रही है. Notes नहीं देखना है. Lens. Yes, what all can you tell me about the lens of the eye? Nobody looks at notes.
It's flexible, so it can be.
That's fine. It's flexible. Then what is it made up of?
It is made up of proteins.
It's made up of proteins. It's a jelly-like structure, and it's first of all, before stretching and all, you should say it's a convex lens. It's a convex lens whose focal length can be adjusted. That's the only way how the eye differs from the camera. In a camera, you've got a lens whose focal length is fixed, whereas in an eye, the focal length can vary. How do we vary the focal length? By the amount of the curvature. If more curvature means the lens is more bulged. So if the lens is more bulged, the lens has more converging power. If the lens has more converging power, its focal length must be small because power is inversely proportional to the focal length. If your power of a lens is more, then the focal length should be less. And when the lens is stretched, that is made slender or thin, at that time the converging power is reduced. So if the converging power is reduced, the focal length must be what? More, right? This much we have learned. Okay, after the eye lens, where are the image formed? The image is formed on the retina. The retina serves like the film. Just like you have a film in a camera, the retina serves as the screen. All the images that are formed on our retina are actually inverted images and real images because you've got a convex lens on your eye. But the brain corrects those and gives us a impression that we are seeing everything erect later on. Retina also has two types of special cells called rods and cones. Rods are the cells which are used for rod shaped. Cones are for color. So rods are for less visibility in less light. They are sensitive to low light. Okay. So a person who cannot view properly in less light is supposed to have less number of rods. Nocturnal animals have more of rods. More is the amount of rods. Your visibility in dim light is more better. You can see everything in dark condition. And if you are cones are the cells which are sensitive to bright light, and that's why you are able to see colors and cones. CC, remember it like that. So cones help you to distinguish and identify colors. People who are colorblind are usually deficient in cones. The rods and cones ho gaya. Then there is something called blind spot. Blind spot is a spot on the retina where no image is formed. And then you should also know about the optic nerve, which carries the images in the form of electrical signals to your brain, and your brain then interprets them as a vision. There is also the portion of the eye behind the lens is having a fluid which is known as vitreous humor, and the portion before the lens has got aqueous humor. Right? This much we had studied. After that, what did we study? क्यों आदित्य notes क्यों देखना पड़ रहा है? Notes मत देखिए ना. नोट्स घर में देख के आना चाहिए था और यहाँ बात करना चाहिए, है ना? नोट्स क्यों देख रहे हैं? Then we studied about something called accommodation. The next topic was accommodation. So it's a topic. उसके आगे और क्या पढ़े बोलिए? नहीं, accommodation से पहले did I miss something between I and accommodation? No. So we need to we need to learn about accommodation. So what is accommodation? Human eye is such a wonderful organ in which you are able to see distant things as well as things nearby. So distant things, how is it understood? Distant things, the rays are taken to be parallel. Rays, when they originate from an object, are always in diverging manner. But since the object is far away, by the time the rays enter my eyes, they are taken as parallel. And parallel rays do not need extreme amount of convergence for an image to be formed. थोड़ा सा converge करने से image form हो जाएगा. So you don't need high converging power. If I don't need high converging power, that means my lens need not be too bulged, right? It can be slender. Now if the lens has to be slender, because the lens can adopt any shape. So how does the lens become slender? When the lens becomes slender, there is something called ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles relax. The top one relaxes, the bottom one relaxes. As a result, the suspensory ligaments become tight, and the lens is stretched. Don't use the word stressed. The lens is stretched, and this vision is called a relaxed vision. When you see something far away, your vision is set to, your eye is set to be in relaxed condition. Always remember that the lens is stretched, but the eye is relaxed. Relaxation is a function of the ciliary muscles. अगर ciliary muscles आराम में है, तो इसका मतलब है eye को आराम है. And when it stretches, the suspensory ligaments pulls my eye lens. If they are pulling, then there are the muscles. The muscles are in their contracted mode. They are in relaxed mode. So a distant vision is said to be a relaxed vision. The eye is said to be unaccommodated. You are not trying to accommodate anything. It's a very natural vision for you, relaxed. Understood? Clear? So we missed about two organs, ciliary muscles as well as suspensory ligaments. The lens is actually held on top and bottom by suspensory ligaments, and the ligaments are attached to ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles can contract means relaxed. If they relax, then the lens becomes. Do you want me to draw and explain once again? Anyone? Hichkichao mat. If there is anything, I can draw again. So if the ciliary muscles contract, they relax. But the suspensory ligaments gets tight. Will not use the word stretch. They will say it's in tight condition. Tension mein hai. And the lens becomes slender. Converging power is less. Focal length is more. Understood? This is called unaccommodated. Eye is under no sort of any stress, or the eye is said to be relaxed. However, when we see anything which is nearby, say this iPad, the rays coming from this iPad are divergent in nature. So when the rays reach my eyes now need to converge these two rays. So the eye needs more converging power. So the eye lens has to become more motu. If the eye lens has to become motu, then the lens should get pressed from its both the vertex, top and bottom. So what happens? This time the ciliary muscles are under stress. Right? The ciliary muscle, this ciliary muscle is pulled this side, this muscle is pulled this side. As a result, the suspensory ligaments are loose. Don't use the word relaxed. Loose. No, you cannot use. Relaxed बोलने से उल्टा लिखोगे. Relaxed is only in distant vision. Whether you are relaxed or not, you won't go by the suspensory ligament. We will define everything in terms of the ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles are at that time stressed because they have been pulled. नीचे वाले को ऊपर पुल किया है, ऊपर को नीचे पुल किया है, and then what happens? The ligaments have become loose. Lens बुड़क करके मोटा हो गया है. ऐसे विजन को हम कहते हैं that it's an accommodated vision. It's a stress vision. Your eye is under stress. It's a stress vision, and this vision is called an accommodated vision. Have you understood these two? ठीक है? So now we say, since a human eye can see anything from infinity to close by, we need to then define what is accommodation. Accommodation is the capacity of the human lens, or the feature of the human lens by which it can simultaneously focus on anything that is at distance plus at nearby. How? Just by changing the curvature. By changing curvature, what have you changed? You have changed the focal length. By changing the focal length, what did you do? You changed the converging power. And when you are seeing something nearby, you need more converging power. You made it more converging, more bulging. राइट? सो इन आइदर केसेस ऑलवेज रिमेंबर द सिलियरी मसल्स. दूर देखने के लिए कोई कष्ट नहीं करना पड़ता है, पास देखने के लिए स्ट्रेस होता है. पास ज्यादा देर नहीं देख सकते, आप खुद ही कोशिश करो किसी चीज को पास देखने दें, आफ्टर सम टाइम सर में दर्द होता है. दूर देखने के लिए तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Now comes what is the range of vision of a normal human being. So the range of vision for a human being is infinity to something close by. So the infinity, yeah, the infinity point is said to be a far point. Now the next section that we start studying, where we'll try to understand far point of everyone again starts differing. How much I can see need not be necessary that you are seeing, but standard we say far point is infinity, and near point is what? 25 centimeter. It's called the least distance of distinct vision. LDDV बोलते हैं इसे, the least distance of distinct vision. And if you forget this whole thing, also remember after every eye checkup, at last when your all powers and everything is okay, and he just puts that final specs on your eyes, he'll give you to read something. At that time your LDDV is being tested, because we read at an arm length. This is 25 centimeters. ठीक है? All okay? Any questions यहाँ तक? Now what we going to study next is, ये question आपको आ जाता है, what is accommodation, what is the distance. Now we go to defects of vision. ठीक है, आइए नया चीज शुरू करते हैं. defects of vision. defects of vision, पहले तो समझते हैं इस चीज को. defects of vision are basically, you will study about two diseases first. These are diseases. ठीक है, you can only arrest a disease, fully rectify कुछ भी नहीं होता है. तो सबसे पहला डिजीज जिसको हम बारे में हम पढ़ेंगे, that is known as myopia. myopia, and myopia is also known as nearsightedness. So see, when you, any one of you who will study medical later on, you will get all these terms. myopia ऐसे terms आएंगे, ये ज्यादा आपको हेल्प करेगा. नियर साइटेडनेस मींस नियर को साइट कर सकता है. यू आर एबल टू साइट द नियर. इसमें लिख लो, एबल टू सी नियर. एंड अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ इट इज, छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, दिस चिल्ड्रन nowadays when they see the blackboard, this is the blackboard, right? When they try to see the blackboard, this is your condition, you all cut a sorry figure. But when you see your books, at that time you are happy, you can see the book but you cannot see the blackboard. Nearsightedness, able to see near, the book you can see but the blackboard you cannot see. This is known as myopia. ठीक है? Now what is happening in the case of myopia? Let's see. Myopia, try to understand. Able to see near, cannot see far off objects. This is how we learn it in grade 8. Now since you are in grade 10, whenever it comes on far off, then you think the problem is with your far point. आपके far point में problem है. कैसा problem है जरा देखते हैं. ठीक है? So this will be your eye, right? And you are having rays जो दूर से आ रहा है, right? आपको rays दूर से आ रही है. Let's say these are the rays which are coming. Now in order to get the image, where the image should be formed? The image should be formed on the retina. The image should be formed on the retina. But in the case of myopia, कैसा हो रहा है? You have got too much of a bulging lens. आपके लेंस का कन्वर्जेंस ज्यादा है, जितना होना चाहिए उससे ज्यादा है. तो क्या करेगा? कन्वर्ज करा देगा. कहां कन्वर्ज करा देगा? रेटिना से पहले कन्वर्ज करा देगा. तो आपको इमेज यहां फॉर्म हो रहा है. Your image is getting formed somewhere here. आराम से समझिए. So we have enough time. So take your own sweet time to understand how it is happening. अब आपको खुद ही समझ में आ जाएगा. एक्स्ट्रा कन्वर्जेंस हो रहा है, तो एक्स्ट्रा कन्वर्जेंस को रिलैक्स करने के लिए क्या करेंगे? थोड़ा डाइवर्जेंस लाना पड़ेगा. तो डाइवर्जेंट लेंस कौन सा होता है? कॉनकेव। कोई चीज पहले ही ऐसा हो रहा है, you don't want it to be like this, so what do? You stretch the thing. So how do you stretch it? You put another convex lens, concave lens. So if you put a concave lens, ये यहाँ पे अगर मैं थोड़ा concave lens डाल दूं, क्या हो जाएगा? ये रे थोड़ा सा डाइवर्ज। See, can I change the nature of this particular eye lens? No, I cannot change. He is God gifted with a disease. God gifted with a disease. So ये तो यहीं पे कराएगा। समझ में आ रहा है ना? So what you try to do? We'll see that, but understand the funda. If you put a concave lens here, so the concave lens will make these rays little bit divergent. ये तो इतना में ही करेगा। तुम बिल्कुल सीधा आया तो मैंने यहां कर दिया, तुम थोड़ा सा पापी बन गए होगे तो मैं यहां करूंगा, खत्म। Do you understand? Let's say there are it's like some machines. I mean, say there is a machine with a meter and the meter should be at a 0. The machine is actually starting with little bit पीछे से start हो रहा है. So how do you take the measurement? Whenever a measurement comes, you add this much portion ना, ये तो 0 पे जाना चाहिए था. It's coming from here. It should come from here. So same thing we'll do here, right? So in myopia, parallel rays, I'm just seeing whether we have left anything. Okay, image is formed before retina. So in this case, we find image is formed before retina. The image is formed before retina, and shall I take another color? Say suppose now we have to draw the correct thing also for you. Say suppose you are watching something which is nearby objects. Can you see nearby objects in a myopic eye? Yes. If you can see nearby objects, then in case of nearby objects, your image will be formed exactly at, in book there will be 2 diagrams for it. Here I am doing it in 1 diagram. Nearby objects में कोई लोचा नहीं है, एकदम रेटिना में फॉर्म होता है. This is a myopic eye. What is myopia? Nearsightedness. Near things you can watch very properly. There is no problem. Far off things यहाँ पे फॉर्म हो जा रहा है. आपका फार पॉइंट पहले आ गया है एक्चुअली. जितना फार में सी मेनी चिल्ड्रन फाइंड इट डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड. आप जस्ट सोचो, इफ द ब्लैक बोर्ड वाज नॉट दैट फार अवे फ्रॉम मी, आई कैन सी इट. व्हेन आई टेक द ब्लैक बोर्ड लिटिल बिट फार अवे, आई कांट सी इट. So what has happened? My far point is not where it should have been. For me, the far point has come near. Do you understand this part of the English? The diagram shows a myopic eye. Your eye. You are suffering from myopia, which is called nearsightedness. You can sight the near. This is near. Near rays will always be divergent. Your eye lens are such gifted by God that you are forming the image exactly at retina. So the red color vision is the perfect vision. Near को तो आप देख पा रहे हो. Then आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है? जब दूर को देखने की कोशिश करते हो तब भी तो यही फॉर्म होना चाहिए था, और दूर को देखने के लिए ये चीज क्या हो जाना चाहिए था? It should have become slender. वो नहीं हो पा रहा है आपका. स्लेंडर नहीं हो पा रहा है. No, ciliary muscles are under tension, but the lens is such. There is a problem with your ciliary muscles also. There is a problem with your lens also. You are unable to adjust. Your accommodation is not there. ऐसा नहीं कि ये लेंस को हम खींचे. Your age is very less, so your ciliary muscles are not as hard as my case. But the question is your accommodation is not so fast. आप accommodate नहीं कर पाते हैं. The swiftness with which you should respond to the change, that is not fast for you. समझ में आ रहा है? आप देख नहीं पा रहे, तो आपका नियर पॉइंट विजन इज एब्सोल्युटली ओके. योर फार पॉइंट इमेज इज फॉर्मिंग आउट हियर. So what is the problem? If you see the problem with the lens is that the lens is converging in both cases. For distance the lens should have become little bit slender. तो slender तो नहीं हो रहा है. अब क्या कर सकते हैं? अब ऐसा करो, पैरेलल की जगह अगर रेस को थोड़ा सा डाइवर्जेंट करके ले आए, then also it will do like this only, but it will do little bit थोड़ा दूर में करेगा. ठीक है, तो वो वाला डायग्राम देखते हैं अभी. Now So here we will write far point. I want you to understand this line, whether you have understood or not. Far point of a myopic eye is less than infinity. If it is getting difficult for you to understand, then just understand it in a very simple language. If the classroom board was brought near to you, you would have had no issues. Take the classroom board as your far point. Are you able to see when the board is at its normal position? No. तो आपका फार पॉइंट में प्रॉब्लम है, आपका फार पॉइंट इंफिनिटी से पास आ गया है. अब इस फार पॉइंट को हमें फिर धकेलना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. So इस फार पॉइंट को, हाँ, टेल मी.
The thing is, I can still see the board pretty clearly. It's just that when I put my glasses on, it's still more vivid.
हाँ, क्लियरिटी ज्यादा है. HD वर्जन जैसा देख रहे हो, शार्प देख रहे हो इमेज, बिकॉज यू आर सिटिंग वेरी नियर. नाउ आई पुट यू इनटू अ गैलरी क्लासरूम लाइक अ प्रोफेसर्स कॉलेज क्लास. जैसे से गैलरी रहता है ना, जस्ट लाइक एम्पी थिएटर टाइप. वहां लास्ट में बैठ के आप और नहीं देख पाएंगे, आपको प्रॉब्लम होना शुरू हो गया है. वहीं अगर आपको पास लाना मत करो, आप वहीं रहो, मैं प्रोफेसर और बोर्ड आपके पास आ जाऊं तो आप देख पाएंगे बिल्कुल. सो योर फार पॉइंट is less than infinity. Infinity is till where I can see. Imagine how does the ATC give a visibility clearance to the pilot? They'll say visibility 3000. वही उसके लिए 3000 meters. That is infinity for him. I cannot see Brahmalok from here ना. Infinity means जितना देख सकते हो. आपका infinity और पास आ चुका है. But we can't say infinity has come. We say your far point has come near. Right? So let's see now how we will actually correct it. Now the correction. Have you understood the disease properly? Now let's see the correction. So now try to understand the correction. One way to understand is, I told you, if you put little bit of a convex lens, there will be divergence in the ray. But how to understand in terms of, end of the day, we have to understand in terms of near point and far point. This girl's far point has come near. Where it is, we don't know. Right? At this point, she can see, but this is the least distance of distinct vision. Near point, ये तो near point है. अब far point का problem को कैसे solve करें? जब हम concave lens यहाँ पे बिठाते हैं, far point का image यहाँ पे ले आएंगे. अच्छा, can you see the near point properly in a myopic eye? Yeah. Near you can see. Yeah. If I now put another lens in front of your eye lens such that the far image forms at your near, you will be able to see. So if I put myopic, forget what glass, first try to understand. It's like your mixer grinder is bad at home, which also makes juice, but your food processor is working all right. But the food processor cannot make ground जीरा powder, वो नहीं होगा, उसमें सिर्फ लिक्विड आटा गूंदना वही होता है. पर हमारा काम है जूस बनाना. आज मिक्सी खराब हो गया है, फूड प्रोसेसर में डाल दे तो हो जाएगा ना, पी लेगा ना बच्चा, पिएगा. You will get a juice only out of it. You have no problem. Now my issue is, if by putting a concave lens or any lens, I cannot see the far, but I am able to create an image of the far somewhere here, then you can be able to see it. Myopic eye has got one good property, it can see near things very easily. Far things you cannot see. By putting an additional lens, if I can create an image of the far at your near, can you see then? Yes. Yeah.
You said that our far point is pushed forward, let's say.
It's come near to you. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier to use a lens to let those particular images form at the far point?
Far point for you we cannot change. You are born with a disease in which your far point has come here. Yeah. There is a near point, there is a far point. Look, for me my near point is here, my far point is say at that Schneider board जो लिखा हुआ है ना electricity. That is my far point. For you, your far point is somewhere here. Don't think that far point has come here. Your far point is now at this bar.
That's fine. But then wouldn't it be easier to get the image at the far point than the near point.
That's what we are trying to do. But your far point, maybe your far point has come much more nearer. That's the job. So in order that you never, who says that your far point will remain there only? As you start aging, this is a disease. ये और बढ़ेगा. That's why, very nice question. Many children don't wear specs for fashion. If you are having a negative power at this age, please wear specs if you want to arrest it. Arrest मतलब समझ रहे हो? Arrest it. It won't grow further. But if you are not wearing specs, it will just go on increasing. So the far point has come here. Adya in class 5. Adya in class 6, far point will come here. Adya in class 7, far point is coming here. और सामने आ रहा है. So now what do we do? We can't rely on this far point. ये defective है तुम्हारा. So where do we rely on? तुम्हारे food processor पे. That is your near point. समझ में आ रहा है? So we will try to use a lens in which far off things image is formed at my near point. उसके बाद तो मैं देख सकता हूँ ना. Do you understand? मेरे लिए मिक्सी and food processor both are okay. You by birth do not have a proper mixie. You only have a food processor. So we have to use your food processor. That is your near point vision. Shall we now go for the drawing? Has everyone understood this? The far point has come near. And this far point fluctuates. This is a disease with you. We can't say. Now she asked a question, sir, why don't you make the image fall on the far point and then I can see it? But madam, the problem is your far point next year फिर कहीं आ जाएगा. क्या करोगे आप? So let's rely on your near point. ठीक है? So let's see what is the correction. So the correction is, we will take, this is the human eye, right? Now so these are the parallel rays which are coming from the distant object to this particular person. Actually, I should first draw the rays and then draw the eye, then it makes more sense. Okay, एक समझ गया तो दूसरा समझ जाओगे. But this is becoming more like a biology class for you. इतना physics में नहीं पूछते हैं आपको. But good, right? So say this is your eye, and this is your original lens. Your original lens is more of Motu. By birth, you have got more convergence. Got it? Now what do we do? Now we put something like a concave lens out here. ठीक है? थोड़ा सा drawing distort हो जाएगा आपको. So if you put a concave lens out here, ये थोड़ा सा ऐसे जाएगा. Right? Like this. And here is your eye lens. Right? And this is your eye. Okay, so this particular, now can you remember what is the image formed by a concave lens? याद करो तो. Concave lenses form only one type of image. Virtual, erect, smaller than object. This is the first image that will be formed. Exactly at the retina. फिर से समझाएंगे, don't worry. Try and understand. We are using ये जो red color है ना, this is the only strength you are born with, and we will play on your strength. What is your strength? Near point को बहुत अच्छे से देखते हो. तो हमने क्या किया, फार पॉइंट के रेस को पहले कॉन्केव लेंस में पास कराया. कॉन्केव लेंस क्या करेगा, इन्हें थोड़ा सा डाइवर्ज कर देता है. बच्चा ऐसे समझता है, सर ये डाइवर्ज हो गया, फिर इसने यहां मिला दिया. दैट इज नॉट द वे. Concave lens will first, ये जो near the far point का जो image है, the image of the far point will be produced somewhere here, यहाँ पे. Say yes. That's why I'm writing still this with F. This is your near point and far point wherever. So this your far point pass आ गया ना तुम्हारा. Your far point has been brought now almost same as your near point. So the image has been formed here. This is your problem. Now concave lens is forming a virtual image out here, erect, smaller than the object. Now your eye lens, instead of seeing the far off blackboard as the object, sees this as the object, and it forms the image out here. एक बार दोबारा कर देते हैं. What is myopia? Myopia is a disease of the human eye which is also known as nearsightedness. Anyone who doesn't understand, please raise a question. Nearsightedness. Here the person is able to see near. This disease will be generally seen in children, your age. आपके एज से लेके generally up till anyone up till 28, 29, 30 this, but generally this disease will be catching up from school days onwards. ठीक है. आप बोलोगे पहले नहीं होता था, पहले लोगों में उतनी अवेयरनेस नहीं होती थी. अब बच्चे का देखो आप, इफ यू सी इन आवर डेज, आई रिमेंबर इन माय होल स्कूल माइट बी one guy was there who had braces. Now you pick up 10 guys, उसमें से 9 को braces है. Parents are also concerned. बच्चा भी concerned है, मम्मा मेरे ना ये अच्छे नहीं लग रहे हैं, right? So we have all become health conscious, right? So आंखों को टेस्ट कराने ले जाते हैं. Maybe nowadays also, but nowadays we say you all watch more of TV, cinema, and that's why your eyes. Anyway, the disease is rising, no doubt about that. So you are able to see near. Typical example, you cannot see blackboard, you can see the textbook. Now what is the problem? Sir, you just explained the human eye has got a unique feature called accommodation. In accommodation, the lens changes its curvature and can see far and near things at the same time. Sir, why am I able to see the near thing? We are able to see the near thing because your lens has proper convergence. Why am I not able to see the far off things when